Jessica, be careful watching the... Oh, no, it's too late. She's being brainwashed by masculine women. If only Jessica had a better role model. Anastasia. Anastasia is a wonderful woman. She is feminine, kind, and loving. She embodies so many beautiful traits. Look at some of these clips of female self-improvement YouTubers.
So we should start saying, okay, are you a brokey? Yeah, I don't want you, brokey. I am not working towards my goals as hard as I should. And it infuriates me. Think with your head and not with your emotions. We as women need to stop thinking with our emotions. We need to start thinking with our head.
Throughout my time doing this work for young men, I've often been asked by the young men that I help, is there a female version of me that they can send to their sisters and to their girlfriends? And the answer is yes, but not in the way that you think. There are female self-improvement, grind YouTubers. There are like women who talk about the same things that I do. But that's not what you'd probably want to find. That's not what women in the world need. Women don't need masculine woman, like, oh yeah, you know, just like be a strong... Women don't need that shit, let's be honest. What most women need is feminine role models. This is the interesting thing. Why is there not many real feminine women posting content? Why is there not many real feminine women who are going viral on social media? Because they're not making content like this. To do well on social media, you need to have like a masculine, purposeful, goal-orientated brain. You have to be in grind mode. You have to stay on top of trends. You have to get like a fuck ton of views. And often you've got to sell a little bit of your soul to stay relevant. A real, authentic, feminine woman doesn't embody those kinds of traits. To her, it would seem completely unattractive to play this game, completely unhealthy for her. A woman who's really in tune with her feminine energy will become hyper aware of feelings of like sickness, stress, hurt, pain, and even disease when she tries to play the masculine game. I sound crazy for like the words I'm using here, but you know, he's explaining things in a weird way. Everything I've learned comes from spiritual texts like the book, The Way of the Superior Man, which breaks down what masculine and feminine energy is. If you don't want to take my word for it, just look into the spiritual people who understand masculine and feminine energy way more than any of us like normal people who, you know, who sometimes meditate, but like we're not actually part of like those spiritual motherfuckers. And the teacher that I personally like, his name is David Data. What I've learned from his books is that women have had to give up their authentic feminine energy to find their place in the world of feminism and in the world where women are basically required to work. Maybe I'll make a separate video talking about the brutal life path that women have to go through. Either they have to risk being the sort of desirable feminine woman and hope that a masculine successful man marries them and that's how, like, you know, they're okay with finances, or they have to abandon their feminine parts of themselves and claim masculine energy to live in this sort of masculine work-focused world and basically sacrifice their health, their spiritual health, and their sexual energy health by doing so. For women, it's kind of like a lose-lose up until we as men stand up and we get more men who are actually like capable in the world, which is like what I'm doing with my job. I seem like I'm sure there'll be some feminists reacting to this and thinking that I'm some evil, hateful guy. If they weren't so unintelligent and quick to make judgments, they'd see that I've made 1,000 videos on developing men to basically become like better husbands, fathers, and partners for women. But they'll see this as like toxic, misogynist, hateful, whatever. The truth is that I've yet to see one good like role model for women on social media. I'm sure there is like, you know, some big celebrities or whatever that I don't know about celebrities or anything, but I'm just thinking about like YouTube. From the YouTube female self-improvement creators that I've seen, the truth is they actually give some really good advice if a woman wants to abandon her feminine energy and make money. Then, like, if you want to play that game, yeah, sure, watch these YouTubers and they'll help you make money. But the women who follow these kinds of creators will always experience like this lack, this need to be fulfilled in ways that their career will never give them. Because inside of almost all women is far more genetic feminine energy than masculine. But if they do want to make money, then they've got to become masculine. And so they go and find these creators online who are popping off. So like that YouTuber, The Wizard Liz, she has an incredible channel to study as a YouTuber. I think she's on 5 million subscribers. in 30 videos. Her first video got like 1 million views. It's fucking insane. She's phenomenal at capturing attention. And when I broke it down, I was like analyzing her channel and I thought, okay, why is she popping off? She's not posted like, titles that usually get a lot of views. She hasn't even made thumbnails or anything. The reason why she's popping off is because there was a market for masculine women of the world to have like a masculine woman who's got high status. Basically, she's a very attractive girl and she gives great advice on being more masculine, which makes her very high status amongst her peers of like masculine women, or like basically women who are adopting masculine energy to fit into this world. And there's a lot of them. I'd honestly say that right now in the modern world, there's more women who are trying to become like, who need to become masculine than there are women to become feminine. Because like, what would a feminine woman do? Imagine this to yourself, that like dream desirable woman, the feminine woman. What would she actually do in the world right now? She would need to work and provide for herself and for her family. And if you need to work, then she needs to adopt more masculine behaviors and thought patterns. Now, there's certainly jobs and careers out there, even businesses, that can be a bit more receptive towards feminine energy. So of course, like being a teacher with young children is of course going to allow her to be more into her feminine energy than being a businessman, entrepreneur, YouTuber. But even then, if you imagine one of the most wholesome careers like a feminine woman could get into is like being a teacher for young children, even then she has to stick to KPIs and corporate structure. Even then she has to adopt so much more masculine energy than she was genetically supposed to have, which means she's basically like killing the authentic part of herself to make money. And if she wants to level up in this, if she starts to value money, which is a kind of a normal thing to do these days, and she starts to, see how everyone, if she starts to see how everyone will positively reinforce and promote the people who are making money, as if basically, if she starts to believe money is a really good thing that she should make more of, she's going to start to realize she needs to become more masculine to make more money. Because the more feminine a woman is, the less she's going to play this career game. This is also interestingly, like, it reminds me of a belief that I had. This is why you don't see any genuinely like spiritual people who are popping off on social media. Like go and look at the teacher I told you, David Data. Go and find me one fucking podcast he's done. I would love to watch it. They don't do podcasts. Real, like, fucking authentic people, like real spiritual people don't do fucking podcast interviews, any of that stuff. You won't find it. He's done a couple of like seminar talks where like, he's done like some kind of classroom teaching. Okay, that's awesome. But he's not there doing a run of podcasts or anything. No feminine woman's doing that because that's not authentic to them. So basically the only kind of women that you see who are popping off on this space of self-improvements are those masculine ones. And they're the ones giving advice on women on like how to live their lives, how to improve their lives. And it's like all you're doing is just ruining the world more and teaching women to basically be like shittier versions of men. But I don't blame them, because this is how most women need to find their place in the world, because most men are too weak to create that place for their women. Maybe the ideal situation is we realize how our stupidity of this individualism, being against being in relationships, that love is a dependency, all this bullshit. We're supposed to be dependent on each other. Anyone who studied a few psychology books know this. We're supposed to be dependent on other humans. To consider that you should be like this lone wolf, that you should be this masculine woman who doesn't need a man, is a fucking mental illness. The same way it is for the guys in my space, the Sigma male red pill guys who want to stay single, who don't want to be with girls, who want to be on like, yeah, I'm on semen retention, I'm not talking to girls ever again, I'm a Sigma male, I don't care about girls, I'm on monk mode, all this shit. It's like, if it's going to be for a short amount of time because you're leveling up, fine. So if you're going to say, I'm going to go on monk mode because I'm not ready to attract a woman right now and I can't be the kind of partner she needs, absolutely, that's actually really mature of you. But there's people who are literally saying that for the rest of their lives, they don't care about being in relationships because they're just happier being single. That's a fucking mental illness. And the amount of like role models who are pushing this onto young people, and like these role models have got such a level of status with followers, with attractiveness, with like their clout and everything, that there's a 13-year-old girl watching these like female self-improvement YouTubers and realizing, okay, so these high status girls are telling me that they're all single, that they all make their own money, honey, and all this bullshit, boss babe type of bullshit. And the new generation of young women are being conditioned to think that it's cool to basically be fucking lonely. And I'm sure that some of these women will like react or whatever and say like, oh, but we're not lonely. I've got real friends. I don't need a man. And the thing is with these women, like what I'd say to them if they're watching this, like, you know, the masculine kind of women who are hurt by men, I'd say like, I actually agree with you that like most men are not good partners. Most men have never even read a book on love. How fucking like stupid is that? So most men, including like the attractive, Chad, successful guys, they fucking suck at being in relationships. So I don't blame most women for thinking that they're better off being single, because the overwhelming majority of women are probably better off being single right now. But that's not the phrase that you should keep in mind. The phrase you should keep in mind is when I meet like a guy who's genuinely, authentically loving and he's such like a man of character and he makes my life better, then of course it's a no-brainer that I'll get into a relationship with him, and I'd love to be more into my feminine. And if he makes more than enough money, that also gives me the space to then be a full-time mother, which could be amazing. But too many women have this kind of mindset, this masculine mindset, that they've been in a relationship with some guys who haven't been so great at the skill of love. And so they've got this like binary thinking of like, oh, well, you know, like relationships suck. No, the relationships you've been in, honey, suck because you were half of the problem. Not only your own baggage that you brought, but the fact that you keep attracting dickhead after dickhead who hasn't even read the book on self-improvement. So for all the girls who say, oh, you know, men ain't shit, men are this, men are this. Yeah, a lot of men are fucking losers. I know it because I've done 1,000 videos and I've helped millions of guys. I know a lot of men are waste of space. I know a lot of men on self-improvement. I know a lot of men work hard, make a lot of money, and they're still fucking assholes. I know this. But so are you, boss babe. So are you. If you keep attracting the same kind of guys, that says more about you. Because those guys are just living their lives and they're enjoying like fucking these women every now and then. Because they're degenerates, they love that stuff. But here you are, degenerate yourself. These masculine women who are all hurt by men. Because you keep attracting the same kind of guy. There's women out there who have absolutely loving relationships. There's women out there who like literally think that love and men are beautiful beings. I know them. I've met these kinds of women and they're amazing human beings to be around. So there's genuinely women out there who have a healthy view towards like men and love. And there's men out there who have the same kind of healthy view towards it. That's like 1% of the population. And then the rest of the population is basically these like sort of red pill alpha female, alpha male idiots who just hate each other, but they can't stop fucking each other. That's basically what it is. When you see these like self-improvement female YouTubers and they're always complaining about guys and saying that women need more independence, they're the exact same as the fucking degenerate red pillers. They're all the same. They're just fucking like absolute idiots who have not even read a single book on relationships, wondering why like, oh, all women are this, guys are this, guys are this. It's like, you're shit at the skill of love. Like, you fucking suck. You've not even read, oh, girls saying like, you know, the same girls will say, oh, but yeah, I've had therapy. Therapy doesn't fucking count. You didn't get better because of therapy. You might have like talked about some sensitive stuff, fine, but your skill of love is trash because you don't even realize your own feminine energy. Now, I'm done speaking to the masculine women. I'm done speaking to the guys, the degenerates and stuff. I'm talking directly, if there is any, to the young feminine girls who are watching this. Maybe you're 12, 13, 14 years old and you're trying to find your place in the world. And let me just explain it to you how life is going to work for you. There's basically two paths that you can go on as a young woman. You need to find a way to have like your finances sorted. And so there's two paths for that. One is that you develop those masculine traits yourself and you get really good at like your career or business and you're able to basically pay for your own bills. And this is what most women are doing. This is what your school system is going to pressure you to do. So as you go through your school system, they'll pressure you to go to like college to get a good degree and everything. And if you said like your future job, your ideal job was to be like a housewife or a mother, you'd almost be laughed at in your class of how absurd that would be to say. And again, we don't actually blame the people who would think it's weird for you to say that, you know, you want to be a full-time mother, because one, it's quite unique these days because a lot of women are too scared to say that. And also two, there's just not that many men in the world who could give you that life. And so that's the second path. The first path is you become masculine and you make money yourself. And then that has loads of negatives, which we'll talk about soon. But the second path is that you actually stay really feminine. You stay like way more aware of your sort of authentic genetic response to the world. The way to find that out is really to turn off your phone, your computer, and to sit in your empty room, maybe with just a journal, just a piece of paper and a pen, and ask yourself what you really want, and constantly just ask yourself, is this what I want? Or is this what I think like society, like my sister, my mother, the girls I watch on social media, the hot girls in school, is this what they would validate me for? Because on average, the majority of women, if they put themselves in that sort of silent, kind of isolated mode for a moment to write down what they really want in life, a lot of them would just say like, I actually don't want a full-time job. Like, my mother seems so miserable. If you just wrote it, even if it sounds unrealistic, most likely you probably would write something like, if I could be with a man who made so much money that like I wouldn't have to actually go work, and I could just like be his wife, and that was my job. And then when we have children, I could just be a mother. That would be my ideal like life. Many women would actually say that, but they don't actually want to admit it because one, they think they'll be judged by other women and other people. And two, they just think it's unreasonable. I'm telling you right now, both of those things are actually true. You will be judged by other people, but fuck them. They're miserable working full-time, commuting in the rain. Who cares what like that random girl says, right? And two, it's very rare to meet the kind of guy who can do that. It absolutely is. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. And so you need to decide which risk you're willing to take, which life you're willing to suffer for. Do you want to suffer in the kind of life where you have to betray your sort of natural feminine impulse to just be like a full-time mother, and you want to go work full-time for like some boss, and you want to go commute out into the cold, in the rain, taking public transport, working at some like random typing job or whatever that you don't even give a shit about, just so you can come home at 6 p.m, maybe go to the gym and then sleep and then do it again tomorrow. And then you get weekends off, but on the weekends you've got to do all the chores that you couldn't do on the weekdays. So your entire life is basically you just being like a slave for this company that you don't care about. You've got to suffer for that. Or do you want to suffer with the risk that if you become way more feminine, which maybe I'll explain to you in a second, that then you might be able to attract the kind of guy who could look after you and create that life with you, but the risk is that you might not attract him. The risk is that you might attract him and then something happens, and the risk is that you don't know how to make money, and so if you divorce or if he passes away, then you're kind of stuck as well. So in both life paths that you have, there is going to be a risk. Absolutely. And so it's a big decision to make right now, but I just ask you to just keep this kind of decision in mind. What kind of life would I want to suffer for? Would I want to suffer and have the risk of, like not knowing how to make money? But the life I get to have is that where I'm a full-time mother and my full-time job is waking up and being with my children. My commute is going from my bedroom to my children's bedroom. My uniform is like my bathrobe, and my little girl's wearing her little pink dolphin bathrobe or something. And my full-time job is basically just teaching my little children like how to be good human beings. You're gonna have to experience like risks and suffering in whatever life path you take. If I was gonna give you some advice, and you don't have to take it because obviously I'm a man, I don't know what it's like being a woman, but if I was gonna give you advice from my 26 years of experience in this world, what I would say to you is I believe I know for certainty that the reward of the sort of motherhood, feminine energy life path is far higher than the best reward of like the masculine energy career. The best case scenario for like, the masculine energy is that like you make a good amount of money, but you still are losing like all of your time working in like a job that you don't want, still commuting, still going to this random like office space or something. That's the best case scenario, is like your income's like 50k a year, 100k a year. Nice. Best case scenario of this is that you keep your soul, you keep your natural genetic energy, you stay as like this feminine woman as you were born to be, and you also have beautiful, healthy children that you're looking after. You've also attracted like a wonderful man. And women say like this is like really rare and everything. It absolutely is. I won't bullshit you. I won't tell you that this is easy. Maybe I'll make like a separate video if there's enough like like desire for this. If I see a bunch of comments and this has really helped like a bunch of young women, I'm really trying to help like, the 13 to 16-year-old girls here. If I'll just give you a quick piece of advice, like based on, okay, well, let's say you wanted the full-time mother, feminine energy. How would you even make that into a reality? basically you'd need to attract the kind of man who could afford all of like the finances by himself, because you won't have like a two earner household. So when you guys like have a house, what's normal these days is like both man and women work, and so they both bring like their own incomes. You'd need to attract the kind of guy who's making so much money that it wouldn't stress the family that you weren't working. And you'd also need to attract the kind of guy who'd actually like want you to, you know, be a stay-at-home wife as you do. You wouldn't want to attract someone who like would want you to go out and work, right? To do that, it all depends on how much value you bring to the table. It depends on like how attractive you are. And don't just think it's like your appearance. That, I won't lie to you, that's quite an important part. You need to be attractive as a girl, honestly. It's just the case. And the truth is, even as a guy as well, like, you know, ugly guys, fat guys, if they've got like money and confidence, sure, they can get away with it. But even then, as like, women are still attracted to like how a man looks, and just as a man is as well. But that's not the biggest thing. So if you're just attractive, which is what many men are, you know, they're just going for women who are hot, those same men won't actually want like a serious relationship with just that hot girl. So this is the dynamic of, for example, like there's loads of hot girls out there who are just getting fucked along by like chads and everything. And they're like, you know, they're always like kind of pissed off at relationships. You probably know like some absolute gorgeous girls who really, like, when you think about it, they're so pretty. They should be able to get into like the perfect relationship, but they'll often always complain about guys, because when you're just pretty and not bring in the other things, which I'll tell you about, guys will actually like date you, kiss you, sleep with you, but they won't commit to you. No intelligent man will commit to a girl who's just hot. She needs to bring a few other things. So you want to be attractive. Basically, you want to be like in shape. You want to be working on your physique, because that's something you've got quite a lot of control for. You want to be like keeping your appearance as best as you can. You already know this, and I don't want to put more pressure on you, because I know like women have a lot of pressure with when it comes to your looks and your makeup and everything, right? You already know a lot of that. What I like focus on myself with guys, which is what I can tell you, is building your physique is your controllable version of this. So if you as a girl start really getting into the gym and specifically get into weightlifting and whatever like limiting beliefs you have, it's scary, or, you know, I don't want to get too big, but you specifically just train your legs, especially your glutes. I don't mean to like sound like a pervert or anything, but this is like, it's going to make you literally like an extra 1 or 2 out of 10 more attractive, which is huge, by the way. In general, every point out of 10 that you go higher in attractive, you can attract like 10 times more people. So if you go from like a 5 out of 10 and there's like 3 guys who like you, if you become a 6, there'll be 30 guys. If you become a 7, there'll be 300 guys. That's like your pool of options there. And so go into the gym and building a really good physique can really increase your attractiveness by solid like 2 or 3 or even 4 points, depending on like where you started from. So I'd highly recommend that's something that you start getting into. Go to the gym 2, 3, 4 days a week and just train your legs really, really hard, and specifically like weightlifting, muscle building. You can go watch all the guides and stuff online, but if you really get into that culture, that's a huge thing you can do just for your appearance. I can't give you advice on like makeup or anything, right? But that's the advice I can give you, is your actual body is like can be very attractive. That's one thing. But 2, just that enough, again, will just get you basically fucked over. It'll be guys who are attracted to you, but they won't stay committed to you or anything. What then you need to bring, which many women don't really get told to focus on, is like your character and how to behave with a masculine man. So the gifts that we can give each other, masculine man to feminine woman and feminine woman to masculine man, is very different from each other. And so you must study some spiritual texts which talk about this kind of energy, because in the modern day, like everyone's deluded, young people and young women, young guys, that like we're all equal, we're all the same. We're not. It's actually total bullshit. And if you believe that we're all equal, we're all the same, like you won't bring that anything that special. Imagine like how valuable that guy is going to be who makes a fuck ton of money and he's like, you know, like a father figure and everything, right? He's going to be like a pinnacle of man, right? He doesn't just want someone who's like him. He wants someone in a weird way who's the opposite of him. In general, we're attracted to the opposite sexual energy. So if I'm like a really, really masculine man, I'm attracted to a really, really feminine woman. A really feminine woman is attracted to a really masculine man. And like, let's say a kind of a feminine woman, but she's closer to the middle, is kind of attracted to this kind of man here. You need to basically push your feminine energy to the side to be the opposite of this kind of guy that you want to attract. Because the kind of guy you want to attract, the one who's pretty successful and also wants you to like stay at home with the children, he's a very masculine man, isn't he? He's not going to be like a feminine little soy boy, low testosterone kind of guy, is he? He's going to be a very masculine man, which means that you need to become very feminine yourself. I'd love to give you like a few things to be more feminine, but it's weird because it's like being more feminine is so vague because it's not like it's kind of counterintuitive. If you set a smart goals to become more feminine, that's kind of like going against the feminine energy. With the feminine energy is to just sort of relax in your body and like sort of to play, to sing, to dance, and to realize the most important thing in your life is love. That's been deconditioned out of you, and you've been told that the most important thing is like your education and making money. Now, 100%, a very important thing is real education, real learning, advancing yourself, amazing. But obviously, like the education system isn't like real education. It's basically just your path to make money in this world. It's like, that's a whole separate topic, but isn't it fucking crazy how like all of the school system wasn't actually to teach us important things. It was just to kind of like make us workers, make us employees. It's just incredible. So your education is probably still your priority in the sense of like your growth as a woman and your ability to be intelligent and to learn and to, you know, become more feminine. That's awesome. So these things should be like your priority. I wish I could tell you, okay, there's 3 things to be more feminine, but I don't really know them because I've not studied it. But what I can tell you is like the resources you can go to like learn more. So if you want to understand masculine men, and then kind of intuitively think to yourself, okay, if I'm the opposite of this, then I'm feminine. The book, The Way of the Superior Man by David Dada is what you can read to understand masculine men. If you want to understand what the kind of relationship, like the best kind of relationship looks like, then the book Intimate Communion by David Dada will tell you about the next level, like the next generation of relationships. Basically, like the first kind of relationship was this sort of empowering masculine tyrant with the feminine housewife. Now the new generation is like the 50-50, like depolarized, limp dick, low testosterone kind of relationship where like man and woman are just kind of friends these days. And that's not helping anyone. That's very toxic. And this is what most people's relationships are like. This was like the curse of like equality. Basically telling people who are the opposites of each other that they're actually the same is absolutely like stupid. And the next generation of relationships will be if people reach that stage, is intimate communion, when man realizes he needs to bring his masculine energy and woman realizes she needs to bring his feminine energy, and that specifically both are as important as each other. Because the first generation of relationships, the woman's feminine energy wasn't seen as important. It was just the man's sort of masculine purpose and direction. So the book Intimate Communion by David Dada, you can study that, and that will explain to you like a lot of what feminine energy is, what masculine energy is, and how they come together. I wish there was someone like a YouTuber I could send you to. Remember what I said? If she's posting consistently to YouTube, she's not feminine, even if she seems it. So for example, if there's like some woman that you watch right now, and obviously you can tell which kind of female content creator is masculine or feminine. If she's like shouting at you and telling you like you don't need a man and that you need to go and like learn how to make money, obviously she's on the masculine side and you don't want to listen to her. But the thing is, sometimes it's a bit tricky, because I can imagine this right now. I don't know any, but I can imagine this. You could probably go and find a bunch of like women content creators who are mothers, who look so wholesome, who've got children and everything. They still have a lot more masculine energy than you probably would want. It's this weird counterintuitive, because there can basically be no authentic feminine content creators, because the game of content inherently means that you have to be masculine for it. So if there's like some mother that you watch who's got 500k followers or 100k followers or something, it's like she's not as feminine as she makes out to believe. If she seems feminine in the video, she's basically like putting it on, and her actual natural energy is way more masculine. So it's just like, it's so hard. Basically, just go and read the books that I've suggested. Start there. Keep this in your mind. And this can just be like one step in your journey. This isn't going to be the entire thing that you have to do for the rest of your life, but at least this can cause like a start, a chain of reaction beliefs in your mind to start pursuing more of the feminine path that you feel is more right for you. It's going to be tricky, but at the same time, what I know for certain is that I have helped hundreds of thousands of guys become more masculine, even though they started life like way more feminine, soft, weak, and everything. Like, men have been conditioned to be more feminine, women have been conditioned to be more masculine, and I've helped so many guys overcome that conditioning and be more masculine. So I know for a fact that if it works for men, it probably does work for women too. And so you can be more feminine and create that kind of lifestyle that you want. I'll see the comments of this video, and if it seems like this advice was like really needed, then I can consider making almost like a guide for women to be desirable to the kind of like top 1% man who would retire you, who would genuinely want to have children and marry you, instead of the kind of like loser guys that you might meet, or the kind of like Chad high status guys who just fuck you and then not want anything serious. Because I think this would be needed. Like all this time I've wanted more female creators, but eventually I realized like they just, no feminine woman's going to be like blowing up on social media. And so maybe it's weird. Maybe I have to like be the person who's helping women as well. Maybe I have to like use my intuition and maybe speak to my girl as well. And maybe make like some educational videos for women, because all of my work so far has only been for men. I've made like 2 or 3 videos specifically for women out of the 1,000 that I've posted for men. But at the same time, I do know that one of the things men struggle with the most is relationships. And if there was more feminine women who wanted this kind of ideal lifestyle, then the more men that would be happy too. So it kind of like, it's giving me this bolt of inspiration that if I make a bunch of guides that a lot of women find valuable, then I'm actually helping men at the same time. And we're just growing this tribe that we have of like people who want to live this more authentic life. And yeah, maybe that is the win-win. So I appreciate you watching this. If you are the sort of the young woman and you feel uncertain with life, I'm sorry that you're actually going through this, because I know how hard it can be to be around that social pressure to act like the rest of the girls who seem fine with being masculine. Stay true to yourself, because even though you might be able to make a bit more money if you go and like pretend you're someone else, it's I think you'd hurt yourself a lot more than you'd gain randomly getting some job that you don't like, or, you know, going to university to study something for like a career that you don't even want. I think that risk of just trying to be as feminine as possible and thinking to yourself, this is a risk because I'm not developing like ways to make money, I think that is probably going to be so much better off for you. And trust me when I say that, I know you probably don't know much of me, but I'm working like so hard to create like more of those men who would want women like you. I work relentlessly for that. And so you're welcome. Now, I'm not saying it like a dickhead, but like I work very hard to develop the kind of men who want these sort of feminine women, but also specifically I develop the men who want to get into real relationships with women like you. Not just like to hook up or to have sex or anything like that, but to really start to go and create like families. And so you might just find yourself like a spot in our community. I hope that helps you. If there's like another woman that you know who's kind of similar to you in this, that, you know, she doesn't fit in with this masculine world, you could consider sharing this video with her. It would help me as a creator, which is like, I don't really need more like subscribers or anything. You can go see how many subscribers I have, but it just kind of like, it might help some woman that you know if you give her this valuable video. I end all of my videos with a phrase which is perfect for men, but it's not for women. So the phrase is, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. That phrase encapsulates discipline and it's perfect for masculine men. So that phrase for guys, awesome. For you, if I had to create like a phrase to say at the end of videos, if I made one for a woman, what would I say? Remember to keep love as your priority. Mwah!